Okay, and we are back for part 2 of shading with colored pencils. Last class we focused on blending, layering colors, transitioning, and values. Today we're going to talk about different types of mark making and ways that you can shade with colored pencil, and kind of going over some things we've already covered and expanding upon them. You're gonna need 8 circles this time. I decided to make circles so you could just kind of tell the pages in your sketchbook apart. So we're just using our sketchbook, a 6x9 piece of paper, and I just drew 4 circles, okay? And when you're drawing a circle, don't stress, okay? Just draw it a couple of times. Like that one kind of worked out okay, but guess what? My next one's probably not. So I might draw it a couple times and then erase out the lines that I don't need. Okay, that's how I tend to draw. Okay, so they don't have to be perfect circles by any means. So I've got 4 circles here. All right, and the first one we're going to talk about is hatching, as I already mentioned. Hatching we've done before. It's basic shading. It's when you go side to side, okay? So hatching is just simply side to side shading, okay? If you want to show a little value change, you can, but you don't have to. Remember, you can always go back in and darken things, and that's always a safer idea. So hatching. Okay, now we're going to talk about angled hatching, which you guessed it, is coming at an angle. All right, and you know what? This paper I am reusing, so you might be able to see something we talked about last class, which is impressing. So I had used this paper and erased something off of it, and you can kind of see my line right there. So remember that that can be kind of a nuisance sometimes, where you can end up getting lines you didn't plan on. So angled hatching. Okay, contour hatching is 3D shading. So it's when you want to take the shape of something. So let's say I'm trying to make something look rounded, then I'm going to shade. I'm still using the hatching technique, but I'm just shading with curved lines here, okay? If I really want it to look 3D, I can come in and kind of add some more values with that. Okay, so it looks darker on one side and lighter on another. Okay, so contour shading, shading with curved lines. So we're just practicing all this with colored pencil. So it's kind of a review up to here, okay? Now, let's talk about parallel hatching. I'm gonna move us in just a little bit so you can see better, okay? So regular hatching, side to side, angled, at an angled. Contour is curved, okay? 3D shading, we've practiced that. And it depends on what you're shading, what type of lines you're gonna use. But parallel hatching is where the lines don't go back and forth. So parallel hatching is gonna look something like this. Okay, and sometimes it can look really nice in a drawing to have these really organized, nice straight lines that don't overlap, okay? So that might be something that you wanna try out in places. So I've just got these like short little organized lines. I can make them bigger. I can go this way with them. Okay. So I could shade. I could even leave spaces between them if I wanted to when I was shading here. Okay, I can go at an angle. Okay. So, and again, you can kind of do them in spots. You can. So that's what we're called parallel hatching. So the lines aren't supposed to intersect, okay? All right, cross hatching. Remember, this is simple. You're just going up and down, and then side to side where the lines intersect, okay? And they're continuous lines, unlike these parallel ones. You can cross hatch 2 different directions. You can cross up and down, or you can do it side to side, like this, where you get kind of X's. Okay. So there's cross hatching. Okay, now here is going to be cross contour hatching. So I'm going to start with some curved lines here. Okay, and then I'm going to come in and insert some lines going the other way. Okay. I might even try to do it this way too. This can be a way that you can make things look pretty 3D at times. So cross contouring, we start with nice curved lines, and then we're going to kind of mix it up by putting in some lines that are going the other way. Okay, cross contour. Looks a little different than that one. Okay, and I could continue that into here and make the lines longer. Cross contour. Okay, scumbling. Essentially, scumbling is when you are basically shading to get an entire area smoothed out, shaded. So it's kind of like circular, it's kind of like hatching. It's really just everything, but you're just trying to get it to be even coverage and smooth. Okay, so that's just the term for it. And you'll notice that, you know, your colored pencils are often a lot softer than your regular pencils. And so we're just trying to get kind of perfect, just kind of circling around, trying to get nice even coverage. Okay, and kind of scumble a few different ways. But that's just a term for it when you're not really having organized lines to have perfect coverage, okay? So you've probably used that when you're shading a background or practicing something, maybe a coloring sheet when you were a kid. You've probably shaded that way before. Okay, and then last but not least, I want to mention pattern shading. So let's go back, kind of review. Got hatching, angled hatching, contour hatching, parallel hatching, cross hatching, cross contour hatching, scumbling, basically smooth shading, but messy, okay? And then pattern shading. So pattern shading is kind of similar to parallel. So this is where you're going to pick a pattern in which you're going to keep shading something. So let's say, let me zoom back in here a little bit for you. I'm going to do 3 lines this way and 3 lines that way. Okay, and I'm just going to continue this pattern. Okay, you can try a couple different out here if you would like. Okay, so maybe I'll make it even like a more of a hatching. It doesn't have to be super organized. Okay, so I could just literally shade something like this. And I'm going to end up getting like a really cool looking pattern to this. It's going to look like a checkerboard. Okay, even if I fill it in all the way, you should still be able to tell the lines and the directions that I was shading in. So, pattern shading, scumbling, contour, cross, all these different ones.